Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 to Stay Alive for September 2020. I've got some good news and bad news. Bad news is we ran out of the famous shark face patriotic mask shield. Good news is we're getting 1,000 new units in from China any day now. Just kidding. Don't quit. We don't get anything from China. We don't even get our raw materials from China for the CardioForLIfe. So, with that good news, let's begin. Topic number 1. You know what? It's one of the most dangerous symptoms of severe COVID-19 cases. It's called acute respiratory distress syndrome, better known as ARDS. You've probably heard it referred to as the cytokine storm, an overwhelming influx of inflammatory substances produced by the immune system. I'm talking about interleukins like IL-6, IL-1B, and IL-17. This overactive inflammatory response can become so excessive, resulting in a superstorm that could start killing the body's own cells instead of just fighting off the infection. And that can make COVID-19 turn deadly. So, understandably, one of the routes that researchers are taking is to figure out ways to fight this potentially lethal complication, namely by bringing down extreme inflammation. That's the theory behind using dexamethasone, which is a corticosteroid commonly used for inflammatory conditions such as arthritis, asthma, and some skin conditions. This anti-inflammatory drug, in theory, could help patients ride out an uncontrolled immune response to the virus. But it's not the only candidate for potentially executing that same mode of action. There's another anti-inflammatory agent out there that can help normalize exaggerated immune responses in coronavirus patients. And what it is may surprise you. One of the other inflammation-busting prospects scientists are looking at is the cannabis compound CBD. Now, this research is still brand new, but as you know, it's been all hands on deck to find therapies that might prove useful in treating coronavirus disease, and nearly everything is moving at warp speed. In an ongoing trial out of Israel, a CBD-based combination therapy was 3 times more effective than dexamethasone at inhibiting the cytokine activity. On average, CBD alone inhibited about 75% of the cytokines. But the researchers combined CBD with a blend of flavor and aroma compounds known as terpenes, and the resulting formula inhibited about 90% of the cytokines. Compare that to dexamethasone, which on its own only inhibited about 30% of the cytokines. A prior animal study showed how CBD therapy given to subjects in respiratory distress could reverse symptoms like plummeting blood oxygen levels and structural damage in the lungs. Now, don't start taking CBD on your own with the hopes that it could prevent, treat, or cure COVID-19. More clinical trials are needed before this active compound from cannabis plants can be approved for any kind of those uses. But the CBD products do have incredible safety profiles, and using CBD has helped lots of folks cope with occasional bouts of stress and even combat occasional sleepiness. Topic number 2. It's one of the biggest scams targeting patients today, and they're starting earlier and earlier than ever. I'm talking about putting patients on diabetes medications even before they've been officially diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. How can they get away with it? It's all because of the designation of what I consider a made-up condition called prediabetes. I'm sure you've heard of it. It should be a red flag that your blood sugar levels aren't what they should be, but that you've still got time to make some lifestyle changes to reverse it. But what it's actually become is a kind of hall pass to allow doctors to prescribe blood sugar lowering drugs before you may actually need them. Don't become a victim of doctors' itchy trigger finger. You can intervene before it's too late. And one of the strategies that can help comes from an ancient healing tree from Southeast Asia. You may have heard of that ancient Egyptians used cinnamon as medicine, but there's a catch. You've got to get the and use the right kind to get the maximum benefit. And it can be confusing because there are approximately 250 species of tree bark that are considered cinnamon. The true cinnamon you want is Ceylon cinnamon, produced from the trees that are native to the Indian Ocean island of Sri Lanka. When it comes to diabetes, this tree bark is an antioxidant powerhouse which can help keep oxidative stress at bay. But that's not all. A just out study from the researchers at the Joslin Diabetes Center in Boston shows how cinnamon also helps to beat back blood sugar lows by lowering glucose absorption after a meal, or boosting insulin by stimulating the secretions of a hormone GLP-1 after eating, and finally facilitating transport of a glucose into skeletal muscle where it can be used for energy. The result? Fasting glucose levels stabilized. Glucose levels after eating a meal improved, and fasting insulin levels increased. According to the study, cinnamon doesn't just work on diabetics whose blood sugar is way off because the participants had only been diagnosed with prediabetes. And too many prediabetics are getting put on blood sugar lowering drugs when other interventions could reverse the course they're on. Of course, you still got to cut down on your sugar bombs. That may be blowing up your diet, but the cinnamon could be yet another tool to help you rein in your glucose control. And if you develop full-blown type 2 diabetes, this bark trick can help improve your insulin sensitivity. Could even help you keep diabetic complications at bay. Now, the cinnamon in your spice rack is probably the cheap stuff from China known as cassia cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon is a little more expensive, but a lot more effective. Look for 100% organic Ceylon cinnamon supplements in capsule form at your local health food store or online, and check with your doctor before adding any new supplement to your routine, especially if you're already on diabetes medications or insulin. Which leads me to topic number 3. If you or a loved one is battling to control your blood sugar 24/7, you already have diabetes, you already know how it can take a devastating toll on your body, mind, and wallet. Well, I've got good news for you today, because insulin isn't your only option to manage your type 2 diabetes. Can you imagine the freedom you'd feel without total insulin dependency? Your life would no longer revolve around when you take your insulin, and there'd be no more worrying about having enough doses on hand or dragging yourself to the pharmacy for a refill. Yet over 7 million Americans with diabetes use one or more formulation of insulin just to keep their diabetes in check. Mainstream medicine is handing out insulin like candy, but it's not doing anything to fix the condition of millions of diabetics. Fortunately, evidence has surfaced about something that could completely change the way people with diabetes use insulin, and perhaps one day potentially even cure your blood sugar problems. And after years of sitting on the sideline, it's finally starting to gain some traction. Listen, I know that all of you want to do is keep your blood sugar from spiking. That's it. Without it occupying every waking moment of your day. But taking insulin isn't simple, and becoming dependent on it and to manage your high blood sugar demands the attention of a full-time job. That's why I'm excited to share with you a blood sugar breakthrough that could be a game changer in how people with diabetes can manage their disease. I'm talking about vanadium, a trace mineral whose discovery dates back over 200 years. Named by Swedish chemist Nils Gabriel Stafstrand after the Old Norse goddess Venatis. This beautifully colored mineral has been tested on diabetics since the mid-1990s. It has been shown to normalize blood sugar levels and improve insulin sensitivity in real people just like you, and it can take as little as 3 weeks. Improving your cell's insulin sensitivity to insulin could be huge. If you're not currently on insulin, it could keep you off it. And if you do currently take insulin, you may be able to use lower doses. And researchers have known for over 30 years that vanadium mimics insulin, which means it could help your cells take in more glucose from your food that you eat. Let's face it, mainstream doctors don't know how to cure diabetes. They don't even really know how to treat it. Vanadium may give you enough options other than a lifetime sentence of taking insulin. Trace amounts of this mineral appear in many types of food, including mushrooms, black pepper, parsley, dill wheat, shellfish, beer, wine, and grain. But there's no way to control how much you're getting and whether it's the best possible form for your body to use. That's why vanadium supplements may be the best option. The research I mentioned above used a salt from vanadium called vanadilyl sulfate, probably the most thoroughly tested version of the mineral. Dosages range from 100 milligrams to 300 milligrams, but a recommended dosage outside the context of a clinical trial is more likely to use about 50 milligrams twice daily. You can find vanadium in supplement form on its own or as part of a trace mineral blend at your local health food store or online. Check with your doctor once again first to make sure it's safe to take, and as always, start out with the lowest possible dose. Topic number 4. If the FDA ever shut down, it would be an improvement because they're not just failing to protect you. No, my good friend, it's gone far past that point. These creeps are actively working against you, aiding and abetting a massive big pharma fraud to rob you of both your dollars and your health. A new report blows the lid off the industry's worst kept secret, exposing how the FDA literally looks the other way when it discovers shenanigans in drug trials. You know those drug trials they like to refer to as golden, the golden trials? It shows why you should never, ever, ever trust that hot new drug on the market. Heck, when you see what I'm about to share with you today, you might never trust any medication ever again. A staggering new report reported in the Journal of American Medical Association finds that every single year, the FDA uncovers some 200 cases of research misconduct in clinical trials during its site inspections. Those cases include 3 of the biggest sins in the medical research field. Number 1, failure to obtain informed consent. Number 2, falsification of all the data. Number 3, violations in adverse event recording. But instead of coming down hard on these crooks, the feds cover for them. They say it's confidential commercial information, and don't breathe a word of it. Yeah, outright lies are now protected by your government because they're corporate secrets. They've chosen a side here, and believe me, it's not yours. We're not talking minor violations either. In one instance, FDA inspectors found misconduct, including fraud, at 24 of 36 research sites in China where the anticoagulant drug apixaban was under study. The companies behind the drug said excluding the data would ruin the study. So guess what? The feds let them publish the data with no mention of the problems they uncovered. This study, built around fraudulent data, has now been cited in close to 7,000 studies, those golden studies. It was even used to create clinical guidelines. In another case, the feds found widespread data fakery, including omitting hundreds of serious adverse side effects, somebody dying possibly, for an anticoagulant drug. Same deal with this study as with the other one I just mentioned. It got published anyway. It's been cited more than 1,000 times, and it's been used in clinical guidelines. These are just 2 of the more than 200 times this happens every year. Now, there may be nothing you can do to change the study system, but there's plenty you can do to protect yourself. Start by giving yourself the most important medicine of all, a heaping dose of skepticism. As the study shows, FDA approvals, glowing media reports, slick TV ads, and even your own doctor's advice are all built around those clearly crooked studies. Tune it all out. If you're in good health, thank your lucky stars that work to keep it that way. Eat right, take your vitamins, and get out of the house a little bit each day. If you're facing something, start with the basics. Lifestyle changes first and non-drug treatment second. And if that fails, never get hoodwinked into newer, better drugs, not when an old standby is available. I'm not saying the old drugs are great, many aren't, but they've been around a while, and that means there are more likely studies giving you a much clearer picture about both the benefits and the risks. At least then you can make an informed decision. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sad to report this is topic number 5, the final topic this evening. It's the same scam they've been pulling for the ages. Despite reports on how dangerous blood thinning drugs can be, many doctors continue to scribble off prescription after prescription. They'll get you good and scared about your heart risk, so worried about deadly heart attack or stroke. In fact, it could send your blood pressure reading soaring. Listen, no one's got to convince you to do the right thing by your heart. And you're smart enough to know that your heart health is measured by more than just your blood pressure numbers. But there's a warning I want to share with you. If you're only taking a fish oil supplement, you might not be getting all the heart protection you need. In fact, you could be missing out on additional heart protection, the kind that's locked away in an exotic superfruit you may have never heard of. Sea buckthorn is a berry-producing thorny shrub that grows on the Tibetan plateau of the Himalaya mountains. It's said to have gotten its scientific name in Latin from the mythical winged horse Pegasus, who reportedly got his divine power from these bright orange berries. Legend also has it that Genghis Khan fed sea buckthorn to his men and horses to maximize their strength and stamina before a battle, and it's no myth that Russian cosmonauts used it to resist the stress of space travel. Sea buckthorn juice was even the official drink of Chinese Olympians competing in the 2008 Games in Beijing. Ancient Tibetans call its oil liquid gold. So there's got to be something concrete behind its legendary powers, right? Well, to start off with, it turns out that it could help slash your blood pressure. And get this, in just 30 days. In a 2017 study, adults with hypertension who took sea buckthorn seed oil were able to normalize their blood pressure numbers after just 1 month. But that's not all. The participants also saw improvements in their triglycerides, their LDL cholesterol, and antioxidant status. The reason may be because the seed oil is packed with heart-healthy fatty acids, and as we well know by now, fatty acids provide vital protection to your ticker. Sea buckthorn seed oil doesn't just contain one type of fatty acid, but all 4 of the omegas. I'm talking about omega-3s is found in CardioForLIfe, along with omega-6s, omega-7s, and omega-9s, and in a ratio that is perfectly balanced for optimal heart health. Some studies suggest that one of the best things you can do for your heart is to get more omega-3s, better than cutting out your salt or taking certain mainstream meds. But don't forget the other unsaturated fatty acids found in sea buckthorn. They can help balance inflammation and reduce plaque buildup in your arteries, 2 huge risk factors for heart attack and stroke. Specifically, omega-7s may help keep your artery walls strong, and the highest natural content of this rare fatty acid isn't found in fish, but in sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn doesn't stop at just getting those blood pressure numbers to the point where your doctor will get off your back about them. It also keeps deadly blood clots at bay. Unfortunately, blood that's too thick is common in folks over 65. The unfortunate result of carrying a few too many extra pounds, a sedentary lifestyle, and other lifestyle factors like we like to go out to eat quite a bit. And blood clots can be deadly too, that is, if one moves to your heart or lungs. But in 2000 study, researchers observed a decreased rate of platelet aggression in participants who took sea buckthorn berry oil. The more slowly your blood platelets come together, the more freely your blood will flow. The best news of all is that the adverse effects associated with sea buckthorn are practically nil. Compare that to mainstream blood thinning meds, known to cause excessive bleeding, weakness, dizziness, and headaches. Look for non-GMO, USDA-certified organic sea buckthorn in supplement form at your local health food store or online. Choose one from a maker you can trust, and ideally that's been tested by a third party. If you combine sea buckthorn with any other anticoagulant, including pharmaceuticals and supplements, it may increase your risk of bleeds. Check with your doctor first. Okay, my favorite portion of tonight is the testimonials. Testimonial number 1. Health Guardian products are effective and easy to use. I've had instant body and joint pain relief from using Flex and Thermomax. Nutrition shake called Slim is best meal replacement I ever tasted, and I happen to agree with you on that. I love the top 5 to stay alive reports on current medical issues that affect everyone who seeks to take charge of their wellness. Thank you, Dr. Harry, for your dedication and expertise. Well, thanks for sharing, Sharon. Testimony number 2. Dr. Harry's formulated a fantastic formula called CardioForLIfe. It's not only a great multivitamin, multimineral supplement, but also contains 5,000 milligrams of L-arginine. I had quadruple bypass 13 years ago, and this heart formula, which comes in a convenient and delicious powder form, keeps my arteries open and healthy. Well, thanks, James, and keep it up, buddy. I have been taking CardioForLIfe for, this is testimony number 3, since 2008. I currently take no prescription drugs or no over-the-counter drugs. I have none of the health problems of men half my age. In fact, I have no health problems at all. I never even feel bad. I am a firm believer in Health Guardian natural wellness products. Thanks for that, Mike. Testimony number 4, Dr. Harry's awesome. And we can stop there. Always willing to talk and answer questions. I highly recommend him and CardioForLIfe. Thanks, Rhonda. And yes, I will get back. If I don't pick up the phone, I'll get back to you in 24 hours. Guaranteed. Finally, testimony number 5, excellent product. Although I haven't had a heart problem, thank God. My wife got me to take your CardioForLIfe about 7 years ago. In fact, I'm drinking it at the moment. I work out 3 days a week and ride the bike the other 3 days for my daily exercise routine. We are part-time caretakers at 2 locations in the U.S., with one in Florida and the other in Louisiana. I am 77 and my wife is 67. We have no heart problems. I have to say I have excellent circulation for my exercise routine and do recommend your product. Thanks for that, Lauren. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our top 5 to stay alive for September. I know that the kids are all driving you nuts by now. School has started, and most of you kids are right there in the dining room or kitchen or who knows where. Maybe locked in the basement, who knows, or in a closet. But anyways, we'll get past this. You know what? There's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train coming at you. This too will pass. And for now, God bless you all. This is Dr. Harry saying good night.